Hello, welcome to the latest edition of Ragic Office Hour. Let's get started on the questions. First question, UI translations. I want to use the UI translations feature to have the Ragic UI in Kumar. So, sorry, I didn't really know how to pronounce that. Kumar. Let me see how to pronounce that. Yeah, not that. Okay, I'll kind of say Khmer first. But Khmer isn't an available option in the language to translate dropdown. Since I since I can adjust the UI translation myself, I choose a random language, Armenian, and fill it with Khmer translations. This workaround is functional but awkward because users will need to select a language that isn't their own to see in the UI in Khmer. Could you add an option in the drop-down menu to add your own language so the interface can display the user's chosen language even if it's not listed? Yeah, I think this is a pretty good suggestion. And I think the default language listing there is like all the language that's available in the Java platform. The back end of Ragic is based on Java, so a lot of that is Java based. So we choose to list all the languages, all the locales that Java support. I'm guessing that Khmer is not listed there. That's not like a lot of languages. Maybe there's another reason that some of the language isn't listed here. I think. Okay, but I'll be sure to ask our team to add a new language button here so that you can add a new language here. That's a very fair and reasonable thing to have. To add own language feature, or at least add the language to translate for now. All right. Thank you for your feedback. Next question, confidentiality and system admin's role. I appoint my IT admin as system admin of Ragic. There are sheets containing information which may affect the privacy and confidentiality of the staffs. How can I refrain such sheets from system admin's access? Well, usually for a database system, it's very, very hard to disallow the access of certain things for system admins because fundamentally, because system admins are in charge of assigning roles and access right to users. So it's when you're designing a database solution, the database application, it's extremely hard to fully keep out system admins because you do need system admins to add new users and add users to their roles, and yeah, you just need system admins to do a lot of administration on users and groups and their access rights. So any feature that keeps the user admin out of something generally doesn't work because or how else will you assign the actual person who can access the sheet, access the sheet into their prospective roles if the user admin isn't able to help you. So generally, as a workaround, the workaround that would actually work would be that you can create a small subsystem in a totally independent separate account um, from your original account. Like sometimes people create a separate account for payroll, for their HR, for their HR functions. If you really don't want your IT person to see the payroll, and you don't want him to see the performance evaluation results, like those sensitive information in the HR. So you would generally create a separate account for HR, and HR can manage their account independently from the larger company account. Because, yeah, like I said, if the person is system admin, and any feature that we make to disallow him for accessing certain things, he could just change the user right setting to enable himself to access that. But of course, you might say that, oh, there's logs or a trail of audit, but that's just afterthoughts, because the system admin may have already accessed the sheet that you don't want him to access, and he might even have other features like restoring a backup to restoring a previous backup to cover his trail. So there are lots of things that system admin can do to an account. So it's very, very difficult for even us to design something that can totally keep system admins out of certain sheets. And we do understand that there's a need for these kind of things, but most of the times when we discuss this kind of feature, it just becomes not very practical, because system admins will always have a way to access those things. Generally, keeping system out of certain not very reliable. See webinar recording. As a workaround, just managed by staff who can access sensitive Let's not. Let's just be clear. A separate Ragic account, not a sub account. We don't have a sub account, so a separate Ragic account managed by staff that can access the sensitive data to use and be the system admin of. All right. Yeah, this is a good point. Just yeah, but as of right now, we don't really have. Even if we can, we don't really have a good design of how to keep system admins out of certain sheets that contain sensitive data. So the workaround is create a separate account for sensitive data. All right, next question. Field name. Presently, we can't adjust the column span of the field name. if this can be done, colon span of the field name form. Oh, you mean when the subtable, and this is what a table do. When you have a table, it's gonna have the same width from top to bottom. So it's not gonna be easy to have the table with different width at different part of the table for the same column. So generally, the workaround would be to take advantage of the fact that you can set column spans, a column that can span multiple columns to make more flexible designs on your sheet. So let's take a look at a certain design. So, oh, this one doesn't have any subtables. So let's find one with a subtable. Yeah, this one should have a subtable. Okay, this will work. So when you go to the design mode, let's say that you would like to have, let's say if you have a very wide field name in the subtable like this, so very long, very long. Okay, so you would say, oh, I would need to make this really long, and thus making the other fields, the field headers, really wide. So I'm thinking that most of the problems are based on something like this. But what you can do is that you can just set a column span styles. Wait, sorry. Yeah. You can do something like this to make the column spans 2 cells, and this way you don't need to make A so wide. You could just kind of make it narrower like this. So this way, if you take advantage of the column spans, you could have the other fields not affect the overall look of the sheet so much, the overall width of the header field so much. Okay, so let me cancel the column span and to make this a bit more easier to understand. Okay, let me do a screenshot here. So before the change, it would look something like this. You might have a form look something like this. The width of the field headers are extended by a longer field name in the subtable or simple non-subtable fields. Okay, so it could be any kind of fields here. So to have a really long field, name. So like in column A, anytime you have a really long field name, something like this might happen. So what you can do is to set a column span to the field, so that you can use up 2 column spaces for the very long field, and then you can adjust the field width of the original column back to normal. Oh shoot, I forgot to paste the screenshot. Let me do this again. Okay, service request. This. You can configure column span on the field name on the with the longer field name, so that all the text doesn't need to fit in all the one single column. This way, the other field names can keep the same width. Okay, I hope the explanation is clear to you. I know this might not be the very intuitive way to do this, and of course, we will still look for other ways that we could get around this problem when you're dealing with a very large table like in spreadsheets. But currently there is a workaround like this to do this, but maybe, what? Yeah, the screenshot is wrong. But maybe in the future we might find some more intuitive ways for users to do this without, manually setting all the column spans. Sorry, made quite a bit of mistakes in this webinar. Okay, so this looks right? All right, I think this works. So, yeah, but we'll still think about, other ways that we could do this. And if you have any other suggestions on how to do this kind of things other than the method that I suggested, feel free to let us know, so that we might be able to come up with a better, more intuitive design to do something like this. All right, and that's it for the questions for today. And thank you for joining in on the Ragic Office Hour, our session today. And if you have any other questions, feel free to use the Office Hour question sheet, and we will answer your questions on the next webinar. Thank you, and have a good day.